Good afternoon. This is Rav Torah on Parshas Behar. The next, in terms of Pesukim, it's a rather small Parsha. It's normally read in conjunction with Parshas Bekusai, except this year because it's leap year is read as a single Parsha. It only contains 57 Pesukim, but within it, it has some very deep and significant things, some of which I'm hoping to share today. And I'd like to start the Parsha. The Parsha begins with Hashem commanding Moshe on Har Sinai the following laws, which read as the Be'er el Bnei Yisrael, Ramata Eleihem ki tavo el aretz asher ani noten lachem Shabbata eretz Shabbat la'arnoi Shish shanim Tizriya Sede sheyesh shanim tizmor b'kamecha v'secha et v'asa Mishana Shivis Shabbat Shabbaton here La'aretz Shabbat Adonai Seder Lo Tazru V'Kamal Lo Tizmor, which translates to speak to children of Israel and say to them, when you come into the land that I will give you, the land you shall observe for a period. You observe rest for Hashem. For 6 years you may sow your field, and for 6 years you may prune your vineyards, and you may gather in its crop. But the 7th year should be a complete rest for the land, a Sabbath for Hashem. Your field you should not sow, and your vineyards you should not prune. And then it goes on to some details, and then discusses the Yovel year, which I shall get back to you shortly. And then it goes into various laws of redemption, of land, of people, of houses that will occur in the 50th year, and how those are calculated, and how you have to help your brother. And after all of that, it warns you again not to make idols, any kind of pillars, for I am Hashem your God. And it says, it ends with Et Shabbat Tai Tishbru Mikadosh Tira Ani Adonai. And at the going back to the beginning of the parsha, which I would like to focus on, I've already quoted the pasuk, some of the pasukim for Shabbos, for the Shemitah year, Shabbos for the land. And then it says, Rata b'Shabbatos Shanim Shanim Sheva Pamayim Tehol Lacha Yemei Shava Shabbatos L'Shanim Teisha Arbim Shana and Vashofa B'Chodesh Shvi Asur L'Chodesh B'Yom HaKippurim Tova B'Kol Arzachem. And then it says Kedisha Et Shani Chamishim Shana. Then it tells you got to sanctify the land and perform freedom throughout the land, and everything gets returned to its owners, and most things anyway. And it says that there has to be a another year of sabbatical. Basically, 2 years you can't farm the land. It's a real test of the Hashem's belief in Hashem, that the abundance that will be in the 6th year crop will serve for 3 years, 7th, 8th, and 9th, until finally at the end of the 9th year, the new harvest is raised. And that's even more of a test in the Shemitah. There are similarities in the laws, a few differences, but basically they're very connected. Now, what I'd like to speak about, what is the deeper significance of these Pasukim. What's 16? Why does it have to tell us 49? And then the fifth one is 50th. We know we can calculate, or if we do that, why do we have to say 7 times 7? That's clear you need, but why the 40 added to 49? What's the significance? And then there's the 50th. Now, I would like to start by drawing comparisons to a couple other things. For example, where else do we see the concept of 49 and 50? That's Firas Omer, the period that we are counting now. The 49 days, starting with the second day of Pesach to 49 days, the 50th day being Shavuos. One level, it's understood that, remember that we went through Egypt. From Egypt, we had the 49th, some say 50th level of impurity. We raised one level of purity, got rid of one level of impurity every one of those 49 days. So on the 50th day, we were ready to receive the Torah, Matan Torah. But I'd like to focus, that's one thing. And it also talks that was the 49th level. All 49 levels of wisdom were given to the people. Moshe received a different level of wisdom. And the only one he was missing was the 50th level, which is that of the highest level he even came, part of the knowledge, deeper knowledge that Hashem allowed him to have. Why didn't he get more? It's because of the sins of the people. They didn't merit, nothing wrong with him. They didn't merit getting it. In any event, let's look at a couple of deeper meanings here. In Shabbat, it says, when we say this kapitel of Tehillim, Psalms, every Shabbat morning and praying as davening, that every day Hashem's eyes is like 1,000 years. Now, on one level, you can understand, in other words, his sense of time, he sees the whole spread of history from one end to the other, prehistory that we don't see. We can only see limited range. I mean, we can understand information, what's gone before. We certainly can't see the future. In any event, there's another meaning here. In the 50th year, in the, what does it mean? It means that every year, every day represents 1,000 years. So the world as we know it is going to be for 6,000 years. Then the 7,000th year will be all Shabbat. I'll get back to a little later what exactly that means. In any event, each one of those years represents 1,000 years. We are now in the last millennium before the end of days. In this millennium, we're getting very close to it. Mashiach will come to be initial Tekiyas, the Mesim revival of the dead, if you like, resurrection of the dead. And there is a question on this that the lesson brings. If each day is 1,000 years, then the whole of creation should be 12,000 years, because it says each day of creation, there was a night and there was a day, the morning. So what the lesson Rav Shlomo Eliashiv brought in his various forum is that we're only talking about the creative period, and that only happened in the day hours of each day. And that's when there was new acts, new things made, and there was new acts of creation. That did not happen at the night hours. Therefore, it's only 6,000 years. Now, I'd like to tie this into this sabbatical year. This is going to be based on a few different sources. One is that of the Rekanati, famous Rishon, The second one is the Ramban, and also with the additional explanation of two of his students, the Keta Shem Tov, who was Rabbi Shem Tov Eben Gaon, lived in Spain in the 1300s, and the Eben Shaiv, who was Rav Yev Yeshua, Eben Shaiv, and it is like this. So what is the connection with the Shemitah year? The Shemitah year symbolizes also when we said one day, even when it's 1 year, 1 year represents 1,000 years. So there's 6,000 years, and the 7,000 is a year of rest. Now, what does that mean in practical terms, in spiritual practical terms anyway, is that effectively for the first 6,000 years, there's creativity. Hashem created the universe. He then, with his assistance, Hashem's assistance, turned the world over to man and woman to develop it and be his partners in achieving the ultimate redemption, which hopefully we're very close to now, which will be Zman of Mashiach and resurrection of the dead. In this current sphere of physical existence. So what does the Shemitah, so what does the Yovel have to do with this? And it says there's like 50 different levels. Now, it is said elsewhere that there are 1,000 generations. Now, does the 1,000 generation use in two sense? One, it says, is there were 1,000 generations before the Torah was given. If one does a quick arithmetic, there were 20 in historical check. It was 26 generations from Adam Rishon to Moshe Rabbeinu when through the Torah was given by Hashem. So where do we get 1,000 generations? That's explained that there's 1,000. There were 974 generations before our present creation. I spoke about that elsewhere it's a bit beyond the scope of this Torah. But the other meaning of it is there is 1,000 generations. And if we say an average generation is 50 years, that would be 50,000. And if you go with modern numbers, 25 years, that would be 25,000. However, as I said, the world is only going to be 6,000 years old. Now, before I answer that, the question is, so what does the Yovel year have to do with this sabbatical year? And it explains that each one of those 7-year cycles represents 1,000 years, represents on one level what Hashem created and let us create over the millennium, each millennium, but also it's each day of creation, Hashem created certain things, and the first 7 days, in the 7 days of creating the world, and the first day, Hashem completed that work, and there was a Shemitah. Tell us he completed that work, and then there was a Shemitah, and then it goes on the second, third, fourth, fifth, 6 days, 7th day, as explained last week's Torah. He created Shabbat, which was the completion of the world, and where the world is renewed from then on, another until the next Shabbat. In any event, that is the connection with the Shemitah. Now, that still leaves a couple of questions, one of which is that there's 50,000, how does 50,000 years fit with the 1,000 generations before Mashiach's going to come, or the maximum before he comes? And you have a little mathematical problem there. To deal with this question, the Leshem explains that not only do we have a normal generation, which we say in today's world 25 years, let's say it's even 50 years, every year is an effect, is a new generation. People multiplying, and every number of years there's a new group of people dying and same number of new souls coming into the world. So taking that calculation, the 1,000 generations can all fit into the time frame we need, and easily that's one answer. The next explanation is, it said Moshe only got 49 levels of understanding. He didn't get the 50th. What is that 50th level? The 50th level is going to be the ultimate achievement of creation, the ultimate redemption of creation, and where the world is finally going to be perfected. That will come in the seventh, in the year from the year 6,000 to 7,000, seventh millennium. And during that time, a number of things will happen. First will be the day of judgment. This is after the Mashiach. This is after the resurrection of the dead. While we still have our physical universe, there will be an ultimate redemption, where in final day of judgment, either at the beginning of this year 6,000, according to Ramchal, closer to the year 7,000, where Hashem will show everybody that this had to be happening. This had to be happening. Everything in history had to happen the way it happened, even before the creation of the current universe, from the time Hashem wrote the Torah, black fire and white fire, 2,000 years before creation, as we understand it. And what was hidden from Moshe, or at least it wasn't revealed, or he couldn't reveal, was that this 50th ultimate level, what is going to happen in the millennium, despite in addition to the day of judgment, there's going to be 1,000 years in which Hashem will remake the earth. Everybody will be purely spiritual, then be reunited in new physical bodies in a remade earth. Our bodies will be very different because there'll be no poisonous snake, no Yetzer Hara. That will all be wiped out. And then what will our ultimate reward be? We're going to, in this coming millennium after that, get increasing awareness of Hashem, at God, at new levels that we can't appreciate. Besides the significance of this in itself, we should, a lesson we should take from this as we're getting closer to Matan Torah, Hashem loves us, and that Hashem's ultimate plan for us is great, beyond what we can comprehend, and that even though we're going through difficult times, it's all part of Hashem's master plan. May we merit the ultimate redemption soon. Good Shabbos. Shabbat Shalom.